In high school, I played basketball at Liberty in Bakersfield for a guy named Coach Hicks, and he's the best coach I've ever had. And Coach kind of used the John Wooden philosophy, and if you know the old stories of John Wooden, these kind of like apocryphal or true stories about him, that on the first day of camp for the incoming students for every year, he would just start culture by teaching everyone how to put their socks on properly. And then flowing from that, he wanted to make sure that everything was done properly. He had all these truisms, right? Be quick, but don't hurry. And if this culture seeped in strong enough, then he knew that his team was going to at least be effective in that. And I remember Coach Hicks telling me one time, he was looking at me and he was talking to me, and I didn't have the best jump shot, and I was like 6'1" when I played, and I'm 6'3" now, but I was 6'1" when I was playing. When I was probably when I was a sophomore, and so I wasn't the tallest, and I wasn't the best shooter, and I wasn't all these things. And I remember Coach telling me one time, he said, the things that you can do that set you apart in modern day basketball don't require skill as much as they do desire, volition, will, perseverance. And he kept dripping this in all year, not just to me, but for our whole team. He talked about it doesn't take any skill to be on time. It doesn't take any skill to work hard. It doesn't take any skill to be well-conditioned. All it takes for all those things is discipline. Here's what the book of 1 Corinthians 13 says about love. And what you'll notice is that none of these things require some kind of supernatural skill. We want them to. And that's why we say stuff like, well, I'm just not a very patient person. Or, you know me, I'm angry. I'm just an angry person. And so we give ourselves permission to not lean in. We give ourselves an excuse to not participate in what love actually looks like. Because here's what Paul says. Tell me if any of these things require you to be a certain size, height, race, intelligence level, or anything. These are the free things. Love is patient. It's kind. Now, you and I both know, if you just start with the first two, there's been times where you are sitting somewhere, you're doing something, you're waiting on a result, or it might not just be a sitting and waiting like at the DMV, but it might be a season of sitting and waiting. And you just want to spur it faster, you want to catalyze something, but you know that that's actually not great wisdom. And so in those seasons, you just constantly want to move. And it says, but love is patient instead. That doesn't require anything. It actually just tells me to stay home and stay quiet and stay ready and stay diligent and keep doing your job. Not to, and the love is kind. All of us have had to have a hard conversation at one point, and we've all regretted the way that we said it. Not necessarily the lyrics. We might have had the lyrics correctly. We might have said what we wanted to say, but the tone, the music behind what we said was offensive. That's what kindness means. It says, I can tell you the same thing in kindness, or I can tell you it in rudeness. And those two, one is what love looks like and the other isn't. So it says, if you want to be loving, be patient. If you want to be loving, be kind. Do not envy, right? We know what happens when we envy. Envy always makes us look awful. And not only does it make us look awful, it hurts our witness to other people, and it's not what God is like. It does not boast. It is not proud. Love does not dishonor others. And here's the backing to this. All of these things don't require anything other than a supernatural gift that's been given to us of the Holy Spirit to practice things and live them out. If you're a Christian, guess what? Newsflash. You've been given that supernatural gift. The Holy Spirit now lives inside of us. So we have to stop with the excuses when it comes to love by saying, well, the green monster gets the better of me. I'm just an envious person. I'm just a jealous person. Or you know how angry I get. The more we keep indulging those excuses, the less like Christ we're going to look in the way that we love one another. So maybe you haven't practiced patience with your husband. It's time to start, because that's what Christ does for us. And it's not, you don't need to wait until he is someone who deserves patience. Maybe he's upset you 18 times in a row and you go, well, he deserved patience the first few, but now, no. Just like God's mercy for us is new every morning, so our mercy for one another should be new every morning. It doesn't mean you walk into an abusive relationship over and over again, but when it comes to practicing patience, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, all of these things are things we give to one another as Christians through God's love for us, new every morning. They don't require any supernatural gift other than the Spirit. They don't require a certain size, race, ethnicity. It's a volition. It's a choice. That's why we always say it's an act of our will. Love comes across when we choose love.